But first, protesters took to the streets in downtown Las Vegas tonight as well. What started as a peaceful protest turned into violence very quickly 3 hours in. We can see there's a lot of tension out there right now. One of those on the receiving end of that was our reporters. We start our team coverage tonight. We have Orko Manna and Bianca Holman out on the front lines. But first, let's touch base with Orko. Orko, there are reports that Metro Police deployed tear gas as tensions rose. What can you tell us?
Well, Sasha, I, along with some other members of our 8 News Now team, were in that crowd when we were hit with some kind of tear gas or pepper spray. I can tell you from firsthand experience, it was really difficult to see, hard to breathe, and this all went down here near Fremont and 7th Street. It has since cleared out, but you can still see all of the debris in the ground. You can also see some police officers over there. Again, much calmer, but tensions were very high here earlier between protesters and police. Now, here is video of what we witnessed firsthand. Metro Police officers in tactical gear formed a line on the street, pushing protesters back. Some protesters started throwing water bottles at the police. We saw officers put on their face masks and then throw what seemed to be, again, tear gas or pepper spray into the crowd. People immediately started running away, dispersing through the different side streets and alleys. My photographer and I also moved away from the scene. It was very hard to see again since the gas got into our eyes, but we were able to find a nearby empty parking lot. Again, back out here live, the protesters earlier, excuse me for that, we apologize for that. The protesters earlier in the evening started to peacefully protest, but again, as you saw,
looks like there is some issue going on out there. We do apologize for that profanity. It's hard to control in situations like that. Now, these protests wound their way through our downtown streets. At different times, groups split off and went in different directions. 8 News Now reporter Bianca Holman was with protesters all night as well. So Bianca, describe the scene where you are, and it was at times very chaotic as well.
Yeah, Sasha, we were in that same vicinity where Orko was, as he just described. Myself and my photographer, we were there also. We're still recovering from that tear gas and pepper spray. Very intense moments. But leading up to that, as the protesters came here near City Hall, they circled back over to Container Park. So for a while there was people playing music, people still just, saying Black Lives Matter and various chants that we've heard throughout the past couple of days. But then the confusion came when we were at 8th and Fremont, 8th and between 7th and 8th on Fremont Street. And that was there. There were at times where they were saying, hey, we're going to split off. We're going to come back over to the courthouse. But there were many people who were saying, hey, if you're going to hold the line, if you're going to be here, then, stay here. We need people to stay here and kind of face off with police. But as Orko described, there were a select few who threw bottles, who threw things into the police office where the police officers were standing, which is what prompted, some of the tear gas that was dispersed from the officers. Also, after that, where we were in that parking lot, we did observe a man being detained by police. And there was also legal observers. There have been legal observers out there with the protesters yesterday on the Las Vegas Boulevard and here tonight. They were wearing red shirts, and they're there to offer legal aid to anybody who is detained by police. And so they'll get the names of that person who's detained. They'll also get the name of the officer and be able to help them get out of jail, if possible, the next day. So right now, there are still several police officers at various intersections, still a couple of people walking around, but for the most part, large groups have been dispersed. We're going to send it back to you in the studio. Sasha.